Welcome to the deep dive. So you've sent over some really interesting stuff all about launching products, launching businesses successfully.
Yeah, lots of material there.
Definitely. So our goal today really is to kind of cut through all that information, pull up the core ideas,
hmm
you know, the things that actually make a launch work without getting totally bogged down.
Exactly. Focus on the practical stuff you can, well, actually use.
And what we're digging into here, it's based on this formula developed over, what, 18 years?
That's right, 18 years.
Generating, I mean, huge numbers,
Yeah.
tens of millions in personal sales, hundreds of millions for students and clients.
Yeah, the results are pretty staggering.
But what's really interesting, I think, is that the person behind it started from like zero, no sales background, no marketing experience.
Right. Which tells you it's something that can be learned, It's not some magic talent you're born with.
That's a hopeful point for anyone listening.
Yeah.
So the material itself, it seems pretty logically laid out. First, there's the foundational stuff, the overview of this product launch formula, PLF, they call it, right?
Yep, PLF.
Then, why email lists are so critical, these mental triggers that get people to buy, and the thing called the sideways sales letter.
Yeah, the sideways sales letter, that's a core piece.
Then it walks you through the actual launch process, the pre-launch, which sounds intriguing.
It is often overlooked, but super important.
Then the main pre-launch, and finally, the open cart, when people can actually buy.
The big moment.
And it finishes by looking at how you fit this into your business, like how to start small with a seed launch, or go big with partners using a JV launch.
So it covers the whole life cycle, really, from idea to scaling up.
It feels like a complete system, not just, random tips.
Definitely not random. It's structured, designed for sustainable results, which is what people really want, isn't it?
Totally. And they use stories to illustrate it, which helps. People like Susan Garrett with dog agility training.
Yeah, she's done amazingly well.
And John Gallagher, starting from food stamps, teaching foraging.
Incredible story.
And Will Hamilton, the tennis guy. Real people, real businesses.
It makes it tangible, shows it's not just theory. Okay, so PLF, the product launch formula. What's the big idea behind it?
Well, as I understand it, it's basically a way to get your potential customers super engaged before the product is even out.
Exactly. So the marketing isn't just a pitch at them. It's about building this real desire, this anticipation before you even say, here's something to buy.
It kind of flips the script, doesn't it?
Completely. Instead of just launching and hoping.
Hope marketing.
Yeah, hope marketing, which rarely works well. You build an audience that's practically asking to buy.
And it seems pretty adaptable. Works for different kinds of products, different markets.
That's a huge plus. Digital courses, physical goods, services. The core ideas about, well, human psychology and creating an experience, they apply everywhere. It's about making your marketing an event.
Like a movie premiere or an Apple launch.
Precisely. That build-up, the buzz, the feeling of, I don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
PLF helps you create that same kind of energy even if you don't have Hollywood budgets.
Which most people listening probably don't. So it's the antidote to just throwing something out there and crossing your fingers.
Right. It gives you a structure, a strategy, especially if you're not swimming in cash. It's about being smart with your marketing efforts.
Okay, so the three phases, pre-launch, open cart, and that pre-launch one.
Yeah.
The pre-launch is called the heart and soul. What's key there?
The pre-launch, usually 5 to 12 days or so. That's where you share maybe 3 pieces of really valuable content. They call it pre-launch content or PLC.
Okay.
But the key is this content isn't just a product demo. It's designed to hit these mental triggers we mentioned.
Ah, the triggers. Like authority.
Yeah, showing you know your stuff.
Yeah.
Social proof, showing others are benefiting. Building community. Creating that anticipation we talked about.
And reciprocity, right? Because you're giving value first.
Exactly, giving genuine value. And while you're doing that, you're also tackling potential objections head on.
So people's doubts or questions get answered before they even have to ask.
Ideally, yes. And that content, the PLC, it can be video, audio, PDFs, blog posts.
Lots of options.
Yeah, though video tends to work really well for building connection. But the main thing is, it has to be genuinely useful on its own.
Got it. Then comes the open cart phase. That seems simple enough time to buy.
It is, but you still need a plan for communication during that time, reminding people, keeping the momentum going, maybe adding some urgency if it's limited.
Okay. And before all that, the pre-launch. Why is that under the radar bit so important?
Because it warms people up subtly. You're hinting something's coming, but without being all salesy.
Avoiding the shields up reaction.
Exactly. You want to spark curiosity, start a conversation about the problem your product solves, maybe figure out what objections people have really early on.
So you're laying groundwork, building interest quietly. Okay. Now this email list thing comes up again and again. License to print money. That's bold.
It is bold, but the idea behind it is sound. An email list gives you direct access, predictable communication with people who've already said, I'm interested.
Right. Unlike social media where the platform controls things.
Precisely. You don't own your Facebook followers, you're renting access, your email list. That's your asset. You can, theoretically, send an email and generate income pretty much on demand.
The story about not needing a college fund because of the list. That kind of drives it home.
It shows the perceived long-term power, yeah. And the author talks about sending emails and almost crashing servers from the traffic. It shows a direct impact. But importantly, it's not just about list size.
Responsiveness.
Yes, are people actually opening and clicking? A smaller, super engaged list can be way more valuable than a giant dead one.
Makes sense. And the caution about only using social media seems crucial then. Facebook changes its algorithm, and suddenly you can't reach your people.
It's a huge risk for your business long term. An email list is just safer, more direct.
The material also talks about prospect lists versus buyer lists and really needing to nurture those buyers. Handwritten notes, surprise bonuses.
Oh yeah, treating your customers like gold is key. They've already trusted you once, keep that relationship strong, and they become your best advocates. It's way easier to sell to them again.
And that idea of online bonuses with links in emails, that trains people to open your stuff, doesn't it?
It does. It conditions them. Click this link, get something cool, makes them more likely to click next time. It's smart psychology.
And building the list itself, doing a PLF-style launch is actually a great way to grow your list, right? The example mentioned adding over 1,000 subscribers.
Absolutely, because your pre-launch content attracts people genuinely interested in your topic. They self-select by engaging with it, making them perfect potential subscribers.
Okay, cool. Next up, the sideways sales letter. Sounds intriguing. How's it different from a normal sales page?
Well, think about those super long scrolling sales pages.
Yeah, the ones you keep scrolling and scrolling.
Right. People are kind of wary of those now. The sideways approach flips it. Instead of one long pitch, you deliver value and build trust first over several pieces of content, usually your PLC.
Ah, so the selling is woven into the valuable content.
Exactly. You're building rapport, showing expertise, giving value.
Wow.
Then you make the offer. It feels more natural, less like a hard sell right out of the gate. People buy from people they know, like, and trust,
So you establish that relationship before asking for money.
Precisely. You earn the right to make the offer.
And that pivot, the transition to the actual offer in the last piece of content, the material says some people shy away from that.
Yeah, it's understandable. You've been giving, and then asking feels weird to some. But if done right, it's the logical next step. You've shown them the path. Now here's the vehicle to get them there faster, your product.
Makes sense. And apparently, despite people predicting its demise, this whole PLF sideways approach is still working really well.
If anything, it's become more refined, more effective. The core principles, trust, value, anticipation, they don't really go out of style, do they?
Guess not. Okay, back to those mental triggers. They work subconsciously, influencing decisions. We mentioned authority, like the doctor in a white coat.
Right. Instant credibility.
What about anticipation? That seems central to PLF.
Oh, anticipation is huge. It was even the original nickname, anticipation marketing. Think about being a kid waiting for Christmas or your birthday.
Yeah, that feeling.
That intense focus, that desire. A good launch taps into that exact feeling for your audience. You tease, you reveal, you build up to the date. They mark their calendars. They're eager for it.
And that ties into scarcity too, right? And the whole event idea.
Definitely. Anticipation makes scarcity more powerful, and it makes the whole thing feel like an event they need to pay attention to.
And the idea is to layer these triggers, not just use one.
Exactly. Authority plus anticipation plus social proof plus community. When you weave them together throughout the pre-launch, the effect is much, much stronger. It's synergistic.
Okay, let's circle back to the pre-launch, that initial quiet phase. What are the big questions to ask yourself then?
Right. This is crucial groundwork. You need to figure out, how do I hint something cool is coming without screaming sales pitch?
Yeah, avoid triggering the defenses.
How can I start a conversation about the problem naturally? How do I find out what objections people might have before I even start the main launch?
So you can address them later.
Exactly. And also, how can I make this initial stage fun? Maybe humorous, something to cut through the noise. They mentioned the attention bomb idea. Humor resets attention.
Stand out from the crowd.
Yes, be different. And crucially, how does this specific market want to be sold to? What are their real problems, hopes, fears? What solution are they actually looking for?
Understanding your audience deeply.
Mhm.
Even for physical products, right?
Yeah.
Adding value like a Q&A session.
Absolutely. Add value always. And the end goal of the pre-launch is to slide smoothly into the main pre-launch sequence. It shouldn't feel abrupt. Maybe even invite them to co-create the solution with you.
Okay, now the main pre-launch sequence, the PLC. The big emphasis is on massive value. What does that really mean in practice?
It means giving away genuinely useful stuff. Content that helps people solve a piece of their problem right then and there. Not just fluff. Real insights, real steps they can take.
So good that some people have successful launches just from the free stuff.
That's what the material claims, yeah. It shows how powerful that value-first approach is. If your free stuff is that good, imagine how good the paid stuff must be.
And format-wise, lots of options. But video seems popular. Why?
Video just tends to connect better for many people.
Yeah.
Seeing your face, hearing your voice. It builds rapport faster. Plus, it can feel like higher value sometimes. Easier to show things, too.
Makes sense. And there's a recipe mentioned for PLC #2. Thanks and recap. Restate the opportunity positioning, then a case study or actual teaching. Why that structure?
It's logical. Reinforce the message, remind them why they're watching, solidify your expertise, and then give them proof or tangible learning. It builds momentum towards the offer.
And then in PLC #3, that final 25% is the soft landing into the offer. How do you make that not feel jarring?
Well, if you've done the first parts right, it shouldn't be jarring. You've built value, trust, shown them what's possible. The offer is just the natural next step for those who want to go deeper or get results faster.
Sorry.
It's presented as the solution you've been building towards.
So PLC is all about building trust and showing your stuff before asking for the sale.
Got it. Now, the open cart period, again, what's a typical email flow look like then?
Okay, so cart opens. Maybe the next day you send an email highlighting early positive feedback, testimonials, social proof.
Okay.
Day 3, maybe a longer email tackling the top questions people have, linking back to the sales page.
Answering objections again.
Yep. And then as you get closer to the end, maybe day 4 or 5 of a week-long cart, you ramp up the scarcity. Closing soon, 24 hours left, reminding them what they get and why they should act now.
And a quick note about servers.
Yeah.
For bigger launches, make sure your website can handle the traffic right. Oh, absolutely critical. A crashed website during open cart is a disaster. Lost sales, bad reputation. Needs solid hosting.
Good practical tip. Okay, let's shift to specific launch types. The seed launch. Simplest one. Great for starting out. Even helps create the product.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. You can test your idea, get paying customers, and refine your product based on their feedback before you've perfected everything. It works really well with smaller, often more engaged lists.
That idea that smaller lists are more responsive is interesting.
It often holds true. More intimacy, maybe. The example of selling a previously free service for like 100-year to just 299 people, it shows the potential even with small numbers.
And the offer is usually teleseminars,
Yeah.
live calls. Why that format?
Simplicity, mostly. Low-tech barrier. You just need a phone and a conference line. Webinars are great, but maybe more complex tech-wise to start. Teleseminars let you focus on the content and interaction.
And the email sequence. Survey first, then talk about results and your story, then the offer. And the key is not to oversell.
Right. With a small list, keep it personal. Focus on the transformation, the benefits, connect it back to what they told you in the survey. Aiming for maybe 30 people gives a good group size for interaction, but even 5 or 6 is a start.
And getting results for those first clients is paramount.
Yeah, absolutely. They become your first best case studies. Their success fuels your future launches. So yeah, seed launch, simple, fast, flexible, low-risk way to start, learn, and create.
The author used it for the product launch workshop, which became the PLF course, leading to a $600K launch. Shows where it can lead.
Even after previous success, it was a restart in a new market. Powerful example. Okay, now JV launches. How do they help you go bigger?
JV means joint venture. You partner with others in your space who have email lists.
Yep.
They email their list about your launch, usually send them to your page to sign up for your pre-launch content.
So you get their subscribers onto your list.
Exactly. And they get a commission if people they refer buy from you. You use tracking links to manage it all.
So it's a win-win. They earn commissions, you get sales, and massive list growth.
And the term JV partner often implies a bit more collaboration than just a standard affiliate, maybe.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
A closer relationship, maybe more strategic promotion planning together.
The upsides seem obvious. More sales, faster list building, boost your authority in the market. How do you find these potential partners?
The advice is practical. Search Google for keywords in your niche, see who's publishing content, join their lists, see whose audience fits yours.
Makes sense. Start building relationships. The examples of Ruth moving her events online with expert partners.
Yeah, leveraging other people's expertise and audience.
And Susan Garrett's dog training business, growing 16x, using JV launches for her online stuff. Huge impact.
Shows the scaling power, doesn't it?
Definitely. Okay, so this leads to the launch cycle, or circle of awesome. Seed launch, internal launch, JV launch. What's the idea behind cycling through these?
It's a growth path. Start small with a seed launch, then maybe do an internal launch just to your own list to refine things.
Like a practice run before the big show.
Kind of, yeah. Optimize your offer, your messaging. Then, when it's dialed in, you do a bigger JV launch with partners to really scale it.
And the suggestion is maybe 2-4 launches a year, mixing big JV ones and smaller internal ones.
Seems like a good rhythm. Keeps revenue flowing, keeps your list engaged, lets you test new ideas. Because often, after a launch, you get ideas for the next product.
So you might go back to a seed launch for that new idea.
Exactly. And the whole cycle repeats, but each time you have more experience, a bigger list, it builds on itself.
Okay, looking longer term now. Evergreen launches are mentioned briefly. What's that about?
That's basically automating your launch sequence so new subscribers go through it automatically when they join your list. Continuous sales without you actively launching each time.
Passive income potential. And selling to existing customers 15 times easier. That's huge.
Massive. Don't neglect your buyers. Nurturing that relationship is so valuable for a long-term sustainable business.
The material also pushes beyond just profit, encouraging you to build a business you love, rooted in your big why.
Yeah, that purpose, that passion, it fuels you through the tough times, and it attracts the right kind of people to your audience, people who resonate with your story, which you share in your PLC.
And that mountain biking analogy, looking through the corners. Don't just stare at the front wheel.
Right. Don't get so lost in the immediate tasks that you forget the bigger picture, the strategy, where you're heading long term. Think ahead.
Mastermind groups are mentioned too, for support and problem solving.
Hugely valuable. Connecting with other entrepreneurs facing similar challenges, sharing wins, getting feedback.
An opportunity cost, realizing that every yes means no to something else, especially as you get busier.
Becomes critical as you grow. You can't do everything. You need to choose wisely where you spend your time and energy, which ties into being a perpetual student, always learning.
The landscape changes constantly, and viewing competitors not just as rivals, but potential partners. Your network is your net worth.
Big mindset shift. Collaboration over competition can open so many doors. And the idea that nearly every business is partly an information business.
Like the carpet cleaner, using a free report.
Exactly. Educating your customers builds trust and positions you as the expert no matter what you sell. It's smart marketing.
Finally, there's the personal side. The author's own journey from corporate life to stay-at-home dad to online entrepreneur.
Shows it's possible, highlights the lifestyle freedom an online business can offer, like moving to Durango.
And the call to action. Envision your ideal life. Invest in skills like marketing and selling. PLF positioned as the best way to learn that.
A strong pitch for the system, yeah.
Right.
Plus the reminder to sharpen the saw, take breaks, avoid burnout.
So important. And unique ability, focus on what you're truly best at.
Maximize your impact and, frankly, your enjoyment, which links to focus being your scarcest resource. Don't grab your phone first thing in the morning.
Guilty. Control your own agenda.
And don't say yes to everything because of that opportunity cost. Link to the abundance juice idea, focus on giving value, like with a free newsletter. Trust that the rewards will follow.
It all ties together. And the reminder about the huge results clients get in all sorts of niches and how launches are still effective despite predictions otherwise.
Yeah, the death of launches has been predicted for years, hasn't it? Still going strong.
The story about being hesitant to spend money on that first marketing course. Relatable for anyone starting out on a tight budget.
Oh, definitely. That fear is real. but recognizing the potential for change, that's key.
And the final message, just take the first step. Keep taking baby steps. Don't compare your start to someone's $1 million launch. Compare it to the author's first, more modest results.
It's about progress, not perfection, especially at the beginning. Everyone starts somewhere. Consistent action is what matters.
So that was a pretty comprehensive look. We've covered the core of PLF, why your email list is gold, the sideways sales letter, those mental triggers, the launch phases, pre-launch, open cart.
And the different launch types like seed and JV for starting and scaling.
All right, plus the bigger picture, the launch cycle, the long-term vision, the mindset stuff. Hopefully this deep dive gives everyone listening a much clearer, actionable picture of what's in the material.
Yeah, it pulls out the key threads. So maybe something for you listening to think about is, which piece of this whole launch puzzle feels most relevant to you right now?
Oh, good question.
Is it building your list, figuring out your pre-launch, maybe testing an idea with the seed launch? What's one thing you could actually start applying, even in a small way?
That's a perfect thought to leave everyone with. Mull that over. Maybe go back to the sources you shared with us with these ideas fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.